All right. So today we are talking about an article in Body by Science, the latest issue from August, which was the article was titled, "If You're Going to Overeat with Protein, the Best Protein Overfeeding Study Ever Conducted." That was the title that Bill Campbell gave it. And the actual article that he reviewed was titled "Effect of Dietary Protein Content on Weight Gain, Energy Expenditure, and Body Composition During Overeating, a randomized controlled trial." So this is from 2012, a little bit longer ago. So basically, in the background, he also stated that most of us know about the protective benefits of protein in a cut, but doesn't make a difference if we overeat on protein versus other macros. So in the study, they had 25 subjects, 16 of them were male and 9 of them were female. They divided the study was divided in 2 parts. First, they wanted to make sure they're finding out the specific maintenance calories from each subject, and for that entire time, both the maintenance and then also the overfeeding period, the subjects lived in the facility, so very, very tightly controlled. And the maintenance calories were established through metabolic ward assessment for the BMR, and it took a little while. So basically, there were some characteristics. I think it was considered a weight stabilization or maintenance calories when your weight wouldn't shift by, or would shift only less than a pound for over 4 days. I think that was like the characteristic. If at some point you went over that again throughout the 4 days, then it was reset. So all in all, this period depended. It was up to 4 weeks, but as little as 10 days for some people. I could imagine that for women, it might have taken a little bit longer, just considering hormonal things as well. Throughout this time in the maintenance phase, they consumed 60% carbs, 15% protein, and 25% fats, so pretty low in protein. All food was prepared by the research staff and actually duplicated. So they created one meal and then another meal package, and the duplicate they sent away to a facility to get it analyzed to double check that it was actually the right calories. So again, super, super tightly controlled here. After the 4 weeks of the weight stabilization, they took the first assessment, so body composition and metabolism test. And then they basically split the subjects into 3 different categories. Low protein overfeeding. So overfeeding meaning plus 40% in terms of calories. So really, really actually very big surplus, but only 5% of calories from protein, so super low. Normal protein overfeeding, so 15% calories from protein, and then high protein overfeeding, 25% calories from protein. And then after those 8 weeks, they did another round of body composition assessment and metabolism assessment. So again, here overfeeding protocol was 40% higher in calories than at maintenance. The meal times were also supervised to ensure that subjects ate all their food. So again, super tightly controlled. A DEXA was taken at baseline and every other week during the overfeeding period. So again, gold standard. And the energy expenditure was assessed with doubly labeled water. So also gold standard, not just with in body or whatever for the body composition, and not just with some calculations for the energy expenditure. So again, for the low protein group, 5% protein, 40% carbs, 55% fats. Normal, 15% protein, 40% carbs, and 45% fats. And then high protein, 25% protein, 40% carbs, and 35% fats. So here in this example, and let's just say someone would have 2,000 calories per day, it would have been plus 40%. So basically 2,400 in the overfeeding period, and only 35 grams of protein. I don't even know how you get that low for 2,800 calories. I literally have no conception of that, to be honest. Normal, quote unquote, 105, and then high 175. And I mean, you guys read it. I also even remarked in my thing that I actually don't think that the high or normal group are high or normal. But yeah, anyway, I mean, that's to a different point. So here are some quotes from the study. Yes, the low protein group gained much less body weight, but the weight that the low protein group gained was 100% body fat. So if we look at that here, the high protein group gained all in all 15 pounds, and 6.5 of that was lean mass, 7.5 of that was fat mass. Exact same thing for the normal protein group. And then the low protein group gained 8 pounds fat mass, so a half a pound more, but literally all of that was fat mass, and they actually lost a pound of lean body mass. Bill Campbell says, for many years, I believe that you could not gain lean body mass without lifting weights, but this is proof that he was wrong. You can gain lean body mass by simply eating more protein. So yeah, they literally didn't do any exercise during that time. Here, he also said, we do have to acknowledge that lean body mass is not the same exact thing as muscle mass, but they are directly correlated. So lean body mass includes additional tissues and components beside muscle mass. So for example, contractile, or which is also referred to as contractile protein tissue. For example, lean body mass also includes the following: organs, skin, bones, body water, muscle mass, and then obviously contractile protein tissue. So we can safely assume that, looking at the study, that what they gained was not an extra organ or an extra bone or more skin or so, but that it actually, in fact, came from muscle mass and maybe a little bit of water or so. So here they also, as mentioned, assessed the energy expenditure afterwards, after the protein overfeeding, and the high protein group burned an extra 450 calories on average. The normal protein group 525, and the low protein group increased their metabolic rate by 40 calories. So a very small amount, considering that they ate an extra 800 calories. So he's saying, while the study's overfeeding of 1,000 calories included, or about 1,000 calories included carbohydrates and fats, several studies in the past reported when protein is the only macronutrient increased, body fat levels are not increased at all, and in some instances, body fat is even decreased. I think if I'm not mistaken, there was like by, who was the study by, where they actually ate like 4 grams per kilo of body weight. I think it was Jose Antonio, and they hardly saw any increase. Well, on top of, like, so they added more protein on top of the regular calories that everyone else was eating also, and they didn't gain any body fat at all. So yeah, that would have been interesting to have another arm in the study that would have assessed that as well. But nonetheless, I think overall a really great study. I noted in my thoughts there that what surprised me was that the normal protein group intake of 15% at about 3,000 calories is still only 112 grams per day. And I mean, noting also that most of these participants here are male, so 112 grams for a male, still very low. Nonetheless, they already saw benefits of that, as opposed to, or in contrast to, 35 grams. And what did also surprise me was that there was not much of a difference between the normal, or any difference between the normal and the high, quote unquote, high protein group per day. So yeah, 190 grams is still not overly high. But let me know your thoughts. What did you guys think of this study? Supposedly best protein overfeeding study ever.
I really enjoyed reading about this, and I was impressed by all the controls that they did implement. Like, the subjects were living there, their food was cooked for them. And especially the weight stabilization period, I thought that was really interesting. The only thing I thought about that, it was, they said fluctuate by a pound, or 2 pounds or something, or 2.2 pounds, which is a kilogram. And the only thing I thought about that is, okay, so they're different. They're both male and female participants. I would have been curious, why they decided to go with everybody a 2 pound difference versus a percentage difference of their body weight. Because, like, for example, I'm a really petite female. Like, 2 pound difference is totally different to me than it would be for a 220-pound male. So that was just one thought that I was like, huh. But I mean, I was impressed with it.
I had a similar thought, though, just in the sense that it must have definitely taken women a little bit longer to balance it out, also just with the fluctuations that we tend to go throughout the course of 4 weeks. But I mean, they still managed over the course of the 4 weeks to stabilize everyone. Any other thoughts?
I like that they kept all their carbohydrates the same because that could have, made it skewed the quote unquote lean mass gain in the DEXA scan. So I thought that was really smart too. And they just made them eat a very large amount of fat instead.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought the same in terms of fiber and so on. That would have just played into that a lot more. Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't know if it was similar to you, Lisa, but it was interesting how the normal protein group and the high protein group, so there was a threshold between which more protein didn't equal more muscle mass. So it wasn't like the high protein group at 25% gained more muscle than the normal protein group. So even though the normal protein group was a small amount of protein relative to what we'd expect, it didn't necessarily mean they gained less muscle, and they gained an equal amount of weight. So again, it's because because in my mind, you could think, more protein is better, so I'll eat more protein and potentially gain more muscle. But that, more isn't better in this scenario. So yeah, that was kind of one. So it's like there's a threshold, and then it didn't seem to make much difference how much more protein you had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought that too. And the metabolic rate in the normal group, wasn't that higher than the high group?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I found interesting too.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine it wasn't statistically significant, because I would have thought they'd probably pick it up if it was.
Good point.
But this is like really I don't know how to describe it, but I just thought if you are going to say to someone overeat on protein, totally makes sense if it's a conscious decision. But the amount of people who are overeating are doing it unconsciously, so they're probably not factoring in like, oh, is this protein? Like, they're not thinking about it, hence they're overeating.
Yeah, they're not like, I want more food. What should I eat? How about some egg whites? They're like, I really want a donut, so I'm gonna eat a
Yeah.
That is a good point. I do always make that point, like over the holidays or so, or when a client is like, I'm gonna go into this all-you-can-eat buffet. It's really hard to limit quantities. I'm like, okay, well, if you really feel like you can't stay within your calories, just make sure the additional stuff comes more from protein rather than anything else.
Along that lines too, I was curious. I didn't see any mention of it, but just my own curious brain, I was wondering about like the protein the source of protein, like what the quality of it too, like what that would have been interesting to.
Yeah.
And if these individuals also were not used to a higher protein diet, I was interested in like, how they reported their digestion, because sometimes that can affect people's digestion if like they consume a lot more than they're used to. Like, oh, it's just another point.
Yeah, I did think it was good that they had those 4 weeks to begin with, or maybe potentially a little bit less, as in like what they always call like a washout period, to make sure that we're all sort of on the same page. But I mean, nonetheless, you'd assume that if someone before that eats a lot of protein or hardly any protein, it would still affect the metabolism a little bit. But yeah, I'm still like in shock, or I literally don't even know how you can eat only 35 grams of protein when eating 2,800 calories. Like, I'm not even joking, because you cannot even have potatoes or broccoli in there. That would already be 35 grams, probably almost easily there. You can't, it's probably literally like rice, the lowest
Rice cake.
lowest protein amount vegetable you can find, and some banana. I honestly don't know.
Lots of oil.
Lots of oil. Yeah, but I mean, like, still, it's the 55% fat. It's still 40% carbs in a 2,800 calorie diet. That's still, I don't know.
A lot.
To answer something to Annie, I think if you are really curious about the source of protein that they use to overfeed, probably the original paper will have this information, because they seem to have gone a good extra mile to control everything. So for sure, in the original paper, they will give you the details of the sources of protein that they used.
Maybe.
Sure,
Yeah,
thank you for that.
probably.
Yeah, because this is a review after all. So did you read the original paper, Lisa? Did you have to prepare?
I did. I didn't have to, but I did. Yes. But I have to say, I don't remember if it said the source, or if so, what the source was.
I mean, since it is not a vegan study or vegetarian, most likely used whey or like normal standard meat, red meat.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I don't think it was like really in the study. It might have been in the appendix, or it probably was in the appendix of the study, and I didn't look at it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I would guess like standard protein sources
Yeah.
would have been.
Joyce?
I was really
Yeah.
impressed with this,
Yeah.
and the commitment of the participants for being in there for 3 months. Like that is a commitment in itself. And I'm also curious if any of the participants were able to, what did they do after the study? Did they find that they benefited from the high protein or even normal protein amount, and what it looked like over time? I would have been really interested to see kind of if they could have done a follow-up to those participants.
That's a really good point. Yeah. And I think, I mean, obviously, I do hope that they pointed out to them that they gained, without doing anything, that they gained, how much was it? Like 3 kilos or whatever of lean mass. And so maybe it just encouraged them to continue to eat protein, and maybe even encouraging them to, like, hey, imagine what you can do if you also work out on top of that or so. But also, I mean, I think a positive takeaway would also be just the increase in energy expenditure, because like 400 or 500 calories, that's not insignificant in terms of an increase of calorie expenditure from eating more. It's not from walking around more, from eating more. So
Yeah.
mentally, that would be a very good takeaway.
Exactly. And to my second point, and yours as well, I would be so curious if some of these participants were able to do some resistance training during this time, but then, like you mentioned, afterwards, and the benefit that they would get from that.
For sure.
Yeah, it was a good one. I liked your review at the end too.
Thank you. And Joyce, did you have any thoughts on it?
No, not much, not other than what y'all have already said. I mean, I was very impressed with how they monitored everything, and the people that stayed there. So I thought that was really good that they did that. So, but other than that, I mean, just basically pretty much everything y'all had said. So,
Okay.
I'll just listen to you smart people.
You're smart too. Don't start with this limiting belief kind of language. You're smart also. And you're here to learn, so as are we all.
With the level of control and how tightly it was controlled, I was hearing Melissa's voice in my head saying, "This is a very expensive study."
This is exactly what I thought.
It definitely would have
Oh
been.
my God. How did they get that grant? Like, how much money you have to pay for the participants? I did. You definitely got me. I was like, okay, So you have to pay them for 3 months of salary. Like, these people didn't work for these 3 months. They were not earning a salary and they were living there. So they just put their life in pause for 3 months, and you have to compensate an insane amount. Plus, how much is per DEXA times 2 weeks for 3 months, plus the double food, plus shipping it to the lab and making, wow, that was an insane amount of money. Gigantic grant. I actually was thinking about it.
I always have Lane Norton's voice in my head when, because he says that a few times in various podcasts where it's like, what limits studies is money, 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 and money, or what limits research is what he says is money, 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 and money. And so yeah, absolutely. But I'm happy they were able to get this study pushed through.
I was curious though, Lisa, and I don't know if you have an insight, but the photo of that study, of the cover sheet, was the protein was Legion. So do you think Mike Matthews did he participate in any financial commitment with this study?
Could have been. I actually don't know if Bill Campbell has a link with Legion or link to Legion or with Mike Matthews, but it must be something along those. It's definitely, it wasn't by accident, because I was always CC'd in when he was sending the updated versions to his editor or to the editor of the Body by Science thingy. And he was like, here, insert picture of protein with Legion, whatever cover. So there is a connection there. What's everybody's favorite protein powder these days? Flavor and brand, I'd love to know.
Oh, I am currently in love with More. It's a German brand, and they have iced coffee flavor protein, and they have without caffeine, so it's decaf, and it has cookie crumbles on it.
Oh, cookie crumble iced coffee. That sounds amazing, actually.
Decaf cookie crumble iced coffee.
Yeah, that sounds very
what
good.
else can you ask for? Of course, they have like
That
5
does
flavors.
sound good.
They have extra coffee, they have cookie lover, chocolate, something, blah, blah, but they only have one variety of decaf, and that one is cookie crumble, and it has crumbles of cookies.
Sounds awesome. What about you, Annie?
Well, I love the fat muscle protein, and I'm a big summer girl, but it's always pumpkin season in my opinion. So I'm loving the pumpkin pie.
Awesome. Do you just have it as a shake, or do you put it into like yogurt or anything, or
both, anything and everything?
Nice.
It's delicious.
Awesome. Laura, what about you?
I use a Canadian brand, and I would love to have some different variety as opposed to chocolate or vanilla, but most of those have sucralose in it. So I use a Canadian brand, just in a whey isolate, and it's vanilla and it's low lactose. So
okay, sounds good. Vanilla is still pretty good. Can't go wrong with vanilla or chocolate. Hi, Naya.
Yeah, she's bringing me my she's listening. Yeah. So again, what you explained, Melissa, sounds divine, and that would be wonderful. Is it sweetened with sucralose? Do you know?
Oh, I can look it up, but I think so, because I usually check that Ben can have it, and if it has maltitol, he cannot have it. So I just check that it is not maltitol, and if it is erythritol, stevia, sucralose, or something like this, it is okay for us, because it's like, and they also have a clear version, a clear way that now in summer they have strawberry mojito flavor.
Ooh.
And that would just fit on the fridge, and it's like having a cool drink after a workout. It's amazing. They do nice stuff, these guys.
Nice. Allison, what about you?
I am using the Legion vanilla. I love vanilla. I don't know. It's just plain, but I love it. I love it in everything. So, and I mix it with like oats and other things too. So, I'm not a big flavored protein powder person. I just love vanilla. I even like vanilla ice cream. I don't know. Is that boring?
No, nothing wrong.
No.
The matter of taste.
What?
It's just a matter of taste. If you like
Yeah.
it, you like it.
Well, and you can add whatever to it. So if I
That's true.
want it to taste like something else, I can add to it.
Yeah.
Joyce, what about you? What's your favorite flavor at the moment? Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, she's on mute. Yep.
I got it. Mine's Legion chocolate peanut butter.
Mm,
Ooh.
It's my
Mm.
favorite, and and in the fall sometimes I will order their pumpkin one because
nice.
I really like the pumpkin one.
But chocolate peanut butter is always a good combination also.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my go-to. That's the one I have all the time.
That sounds amazing. I get bored though. I mean, I keep one flavor for a season, like I don't know, 2-3 months, and then I cannot see it anymore. I need to change. I need a different flavor.
And Mike, what about you? What are you having at the moment?
So I always get two types. So I get like a whey and a vegan just to like mix it up, you know. And at the moment I've got so there's a UK brand called Protein Works, and they're pretty good. And so I've got whey flavor and like a caramel type flavor. And then interestingly, I've got a vegan flavor, which is it's called Chocolate Bueno. Have you ever had Kinder Bueno before?
Oh yes.
It's called Kinder
Oh.
Bueno. Kinder Bueno.
It's really nice. It's super
Yum.
good.
It sounds pretty good. I do like
Yeah.
Kinder Bueno. Nice. I just have I
Sorry.
also have a caramel at the moment, or salted caramel, but it's actually not that great. I mean, I just had to make do with whatever I could take here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I
nice.
mean, brands of protein powders in Latin America, there is a lot of work to do there.
Yes,
You
mostly
could open a company.
I could, yes, if I wanted to. I don't think it's one of my top main things to do at the moment. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the article, and next week we're actually gonna read the other part of that research review, so the full body versus body part split. So I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on that also.
Full
Cool.
body.
Yes. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and nice to catch up with everybody. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.